Well, we start off in Armenia, where months of political tensions have reached boiling point, sparking concerns of violence. Well, today there were mass rallies in Armenia's capital, Yerevan, with both opponents and supporters of embattled Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan taking to the streets. While Mr. Pashinyan has himself led thousands of his supporters through the streets, denouncing what he called an attempted military coup after Armenia's armed forces demanded his resignation. Pashinyan has faced months of protests since Armenia's defeat by Azerbaijan in the conflict over Nagorno-Karabakh last year. Let's get an update now from our correspondent, Emily Sherwin. She is monitoring the situation from Moscow. Emily, what can you tell us about the situation right now in Armenia?
Well, today saw two parallel rallies in the center of Yerevan, in the Armenian capital, with opponents of Nikol Pashinyan calling for him to resign. Those opponents today were joined by the military, and also thousands of supporters of Nikol Pashinyan also gathered in the center of Yerevan. Now, Pashinyan has now called on all sides to go home, to leave the streets, and to instead hold talks. The opposition, however, is holding fast. They have said that they will only talk about Pashinyan's resignation, and it seems that they're setting up tents in the center of the city. They say they're prepared to stay all night until Pashinyan resigns. This is part of an ongoing political crisis, as you say, which erupted after the war in Nagorno-Karabakh. After all, Armenia was forced to sign a ceasefire, which many see as a humiliation for the country. It had to give up several territories within Nagorno-Karabakh, which is an ethnically Armenian majority enclave inside Azerbaijan, and which has always been recognized by the international community as being part of Azerbaijan. But for many Armenians, that ceasefire was certainly a defeat, and one that is represented by Pashinyan himself.
Emily, how much popular support is there for the Prime Minister?
Well, when I was there a few months ago, people were already calling for Pashinyan's resignation after that ceasefire agreement. Many people really see it as a humiliation. They were saying to me, he sold off part of Armenia, part of our territory. So it's really a huge national defeat. However, today, thousands of people heeded Pashinyan's calls to take to the streets. Thousands of people gathered after he called on them on Facebook, and it does seem that he has more support a few months later.
Now, let's talk about the army. Is the army prepared to resort to more violence, or violence, I should say, and forcibly remove the Prime Minister?
Well, it's certainly unusual in Armenia for the army to call on the Prime Minister to resign, to get involved in politics. I think it's unlikely that there will be force from the side of the army. The Ministry of Defense has also called for calm and for the army not to meddle in politics. It does seem likely, however, that the pressure will continue on Nikol Pashinyan to resign in this ongoing political crisis.
Emily Sherwin reporting on the situation in Armenia. Thank you very much.